Go ahead. I'm Herman Junge, MetaMask security team. So we're here to discuss Menpo. Menpo is a MetaMask project. We want to deploy a public database of DeFi incidents, but using a standard called STIX. We will explain everything here. First, let's agree on the definition of incident. There's a formal definition. We get several, in fact, but we can narrow it down to an event when a DeFi agent loses an asset. People need collections of incidents for several reasons. We want to make studies for papers. We want to hire, what do I hire? I hire an expert on smart contract or hire an expert on Web3 wallet phishing. I want to train my people. What is the most complicated incident, taxonomy, what is the most complicated event, where's the money lost, etc., and risk management, same reason. Sources, we have lots of sources. Papers, shout out to the centralized finance attacks. That's Joe 2022. It encompasses all the work done before. We have all the kind of attacks we can find in the DeFi space, plus a taxonomy in 5 levels. This is what we leverage to explain the TTPs on each incident. We have sources, security companies, BOC, Certic, chain analysis, Slomis. They do a lot of live data. They do a lot of frequent reports. We have newsletters, Web3 is going just great, Molly White, Rect. Shout out as well, Blockchain Threat Intelligence by Peter Kaczerginski. It's important, you need to subscribe if you can. You will find a lot of hacks that happen, scans. You will have indicators of compromise. And we have the individual researchers, Samsung, Stack, XVT, whatever you are, hi. Sunsec, who has a repository that reproduces attacks by doing forks in the same block is happening. This is something that we cannot just do at Web 2, we can do in Web 3, where we see exactly the attack, how it happened, internal transaction, etc. So we have the data, we have the necessity. So what's the problem? The problem is we don't have a fixed standard on how everybody publishes this information. So for example, if I want to make a recopilation of all the Oracle compromise attacks, I need to comp all the sources one by one. Need to do the job, get the data, do a spreadsheet, maybe a JSON, then do the processing, and then get the total. So if I get a report of 2022, see all the attacks, I get a final amount, but I don't get the data set. I don't get a unique data set. We need to have that. We need to have a standard. So do we build a standard? And then mandatory joke. We have 14 standards. Do we make standards to englobe all? No, because we will have 15. So how do we solve it? We don't need to do standard. That's the funny part. STIX. STIX is the standard we need for threat intelligence. STIX has been around from 2012, more than a decade. It's what the big boys use at Web 2 to share information, threat intelligence around big companies, small companies. STIX represents the data as a graph with nodes and edges. STIX can be represented on XML, can be represented on JSON. So due to these properties, it's really easy to automate the process by pipelining or by automating the consumption, the adding of data, etc. So STIX has what is called as domain objects, which are types. So I have types for attack pattern, the TTPs. I have identities for researchers, victims, attackers, etc. Indicators, which are key. In our case, are addresses, transactions. Intrusion set, which are the APTs. Threat actors, which is the actual hacker, the malicious actor. Malware, which can be exploited in our case. Vulnerabilities, if we want to put CVEs. And we can relate all of this in a graph way. So for example, we have 2 campaigns by the same APT using a specific threat actor that has different kind of attack patterns, TTPs, right? We can associate indicators to malware. So we have a hash, we associate it to a malware, and then if we have all this information together, we just do a traversal over the data set. We can as well put researchers, when the researchers makes an observation, to get the credit or to get the reputation over the kind of data is being collected, we can relate it, which is very useful in our case if we want to validate, if we want to give a value over a tweet, over a publication, a blog, or confidential information, whatever. This doesn't look very clear here, but is the APT1, the first APT, defined by Mandiant. Mandiant makes a PDF report, but adds the STIX representation, how all the elements, all the actors, all the exploits, all the techniques are together, put together inside this report. And most importantly, STIX can be extended, so we don't need to have a Web3, a metaverse, a DeFi STIX. We just use the same protocol, and we add the elements we need. In our proof of concept, there are not more than 7. Here we name address, transaction, and import an estimated loss. Recall that for us an event is important if the actor loses an asset. So the proposal was spoiled. We really want to have this public data set available for everybody in a web interface and in an API. Public because we want to make the community contribute. In our proof of concept, for example, we took the Kyber swap incident last year. You can see the threat actor, all the addresses the threat actor used, the TTP, which was leveraging Google Tag Manager, the victim, and the address of the victim. Now, these are very simple objects, but every person who has done investigation can see that relationships appear as soon as you start to collecting enough data. If you have a number of objects, start rendering, start to do the traversal, you may find a relationship between 2 types of attacks that were unrated at first. This is when Boshan last year as well lost $42 million. We can see the addresses, the kind of attack. In this case, is compromise on the private key and the attacker. If we don't have an attacker, it doesn't matter. We just define that as a threat actor, and then by virtue of looking at the relationship, we just add the node. We can add as many nodes as we want, and when we're rendering, by doing some algorithm, we get the objects we need to understand the visualization. Let's not forget that it's JSON. I just put some examples because in our first version, we want to use this object on GitHub. This is the most decentralized way to have it. Everybody can just contribute via pull request. There will be curated and added to the set. Then every actor who wants to do the analysis go into the repository, gets all the data, and process it in their own graph database, SQL database, whatever flavor they want. Notable example, the attack pattern, the TTP has a taxonomy. This is the taxonomy we borrow from the last article on DeFi attacks. So this is in the layer auxiliary, has caused a faulty web development. So in this case, for example, we're missing the Google Tag Manager. But as long as we start to recollect, to compile more cases, we can create extended taxonomy, which is one of our goals. We have addresses as well as indicators, and we define threat actors. So finally, what are our goals? Why are we doing this? It's all about intelligence, collection, analysis, and dissemination. Collection, really want us as MetaMask security team and the community to add data to this repository. So Menpo become, well, we put a tall order, definitive list of all hack transactions ever. This has been asked in several forums. I want to have that. I want to have all the transactions, all the hacks in one single place. While this is centralized in a way, if we use the centralized source, it's possible to manage. 1 minute, I will make it. Analysis. Of course, if we got all the data, taxonomy, a better taxonomy will emerge. So the actors will find a use for this database, the actors that make decisions, to take decisions. And finally, dissemination. I got the seconds. Basically, we look forward to Menpo to become an essential infrastructure element, essential fundamental infrastructure element on the DeFi security community. People will get into Menpo, will get links and will identify incidents, indicators of compromise. We think that this is a product that is needed, is an application and will be maintained by the community, given the spirit of Ethereum. Menpo.io, that's a 302 the GitHub repository where we can discuss the rest of the features on the issues. Thank you very much.